Hello everyone, I'm Mitch Hanley from Inventory Hive, and I'm delighted to say that I'm joined by Vivian from Bitwarden on today's webinar. We're going to be talking about top security tips for estate and real estate agents. Vivian, I'll hand over to you in a second just to do a quick introduction of what you do, but just a little bit about myself and Inventory Hive. So I'm Mitch from Inventory Hive. We are a cloud-based property reporting platform predominantly used by letting agents, inventory clerks, landlords, so they can create unlimited property inspection reports for the properties they manage, such as checking inventories, checkouts, interim inspections. You've got your custom reports as well. We're an ISO 27001 certified company, which is quite crucial. I think you'll find as well that any real estate agents out there that use the same password on different platforms or different systems are putting themselves at risk of a serious risk of a data breach or a security breach as such. So we've introduced something in which a Hive called two-factor authentication, which we've now released to our users, and also on top of the sharing user logins, you're allowed unlimited users on Inventory Hive as well. So that's a quick introduction to Inventory Hive, and I'm delighted to welcome Vivian from Bitwarden. So Vivian, do you want to do a quick introduction about yourself?
Yeah, hey Mitch, thanks for
Brilliant.
having me. Hey everyone, my name is Vivian Schick. I'm Senior Director of Marketing here at Bitwarden, and I'm really happy to be partnering with our customer inventory Hive to share with you today on some best practices for keeping your agencies digitally secure. More
Perfect.
specifically, I'm going to focus on the critical role in how you manage your passwords and your password habits and just how that plays into your agency's overall security health. So here's
Perfect.
the brief agenda. I'm going to start with providing some numbers and stats across the landscape, just to kind of set the context a little bit. And then we're going to dive into some recommended best practices that actually Bitwarden ourselves, we follow internally. And so I'm proud to say that a lot of this information that I'm sharing is actually what we use to train our own employees here. And then I'm going to walk you through a little bit about the Bitwarden product. And finally, I will leave you with some great resources for you to take home and look at your leisure.
Lovely.
So setting the context, you can skip to the next slide. We're going to take a look first at the UK data breaches, since all of you are based there. So according to gov.uk, 4 in 10 businesses, about 40%, almost 40%, have experienced some kind of a cybersecurity breach in 2021. And over 20% of those businesses lost money or data as a result. One small business in the UK is successfully hacked every 19 seconds. And these are some resources, some stats that are based here in the UK. Then looking at how this translates into the cost impact to companies, over 80% of hacking-related breaches succeeded through stolen passwords or weak passwords. And the average cost of a data breach is over $9 million, and that translates to almost 8 million in pounds. And stolen or compromised credentials are often to blame for that. So Bitwarden also conducts its own password decision survey. We do that annually, and this is looking at IT decision makers and how they perceive and use passwords within their companies. And we found this year that 60% of IT decision makers report their organization experienced a cyber attack within the last year, and nearly half of them report struggling with employees who still use unauthorized devices or software without IT's approval. Most of them, and this percentage went up from 75 to 80% from last year. Most of them report that having a ransomware mitigation strategy, that they do have that, so that's good. 3/4 report their organization has cyber insurance. Our survey also found that most end users do need help. Over 80% of respondents still say they reuse passwords across more than one site, and almost 1/5 of them reset their passwords every day or multiple times a week. So, what can companies and agencies like yours do to establish strong security practices? I'm going to run through some four tips and 4 best practices that, again, these are tips that Bitwarden uses as well as we train our own employees internally. So, at the risk of sounding a little biased, it's important to understand why your organization could need a password manager. We often tell people that it really doesn't matter which password manager you use. Of course, we hope you use Bitwarden, but really it doesn't matter which password manager you use as long as you use one, because the consequences of stolen or weak passwords, as you've seen in the data, in the stats that I shared with you before, the cost is just too high. Password managers do more than just store and secure your passwords. They actually can help your employees establish good security habits. They protect the front lines of defense for your security stack. They can make your team more productive, so people aren't having to run around trying to remember passwords or storing them in Excel or forgetting passwords, and IT has to reset them. So this really streamlines a lot of the password management. And it does facilitate easy onboarding and success of employees overall.
Yeah, it's a good point, that, because when I first started at Image Hive, obviously I was introduced to Bitwarden, and it was amazing how reliant we are on Bitwarden, because obviously you can get into the habit of recycling the same passwords, and obviously the statistic on the previous slide of having over 80% of people reuse the same password across multiple logins, whereas like I said, the onboarding process that we went through to use Bitwarden just makes it a lot more streamlined and really easy to use. So it's a really important step.
Absolutely. I'm glad to hear that, Mitch.
Yeah.
And then the second tip is, if you're not familiar with password managers, that's okay. And you may think that storing passwords is all they do, but that's actually far from the truth. And so I'm really excited here to just tell you a little bit more about what password managers can do beyond just storing and securing passwords. So for me personally, I've been using my Bitwarden password manager to, yes, store and secure passwords, but I also use it to store all my credit cards securely, secure notes, identity information. So things like my kids' social security numbers, passport numbers, frequent flyer numbers. So I use Bitwarden to store all of that, and it has really made the quality of my digital life so much more organized and secure.
Especially when it's all in one place as well, that you can access it like just through one master password. So
exactly. Yep. So another great feature that Bitwarden offers is password and username generators. So whenever I set up a new account for myself, I use a password generator to generate a complex and unique password for my account. And because it's just so easy to generate a new password, I don't have to use the same password over and over again across all my accounts. So just a really helpful feature there. Bitwarden also provides reports, so you can run reports and figure out if your passwords have been exposed, have been reused, are too weak, or have been reported in breached passwords. Bitwarden can also protect users against fraudulent websites. So how that works is really great. So if you use the autofill feature to log into an account, if Bitwarden does not recognize that website, the URI of that website, it will not, the autofill will not be prompted. And so if it's not prompted, it could alert you to think about, is this the right website? Is this the website that I should be logging into? It can also help users manage two-factor authentication. So one of my favorite features within Bitwarden is we include the Bitwarden Authenticator, which is an alternative solution to dedicated authentication apps such as Authy that you can use to verify your identity for websites and apps that use two-step login. And so the Bitwarden Authenticator is embedded, is built into the password manager, and it generates these time-based one-time passwords, and then it rotates them through every 30 seconds. So it's such a great 2FA feature that we offer.
2FA is quite a crucial step for us when we got our ISO 27001 status. Like, all of our logins have to be 2FA now. So yeah, so it's an important feature to have, especially through Bitwarden as well. So that's good.
Yeah. So the third tip is, if you have a company culture that thinks security is only IT's job, then you're really missing out on an important opportunity to foster more security awareness across your entire team. And so these are best practices that we at Bitwarden adhere to. One of the things that we do is we run security health checks. So and we incentivize our employees to do that. Run a password report and send it to us, and you'll get a DoorDash or something fun to do.
Yeah.
It helps really get individual team members to run their own health checks too. So another thing that we always say at Bitwarden is we want to try to include security for everyone. Security isn't just the IT department's job. A password manager that your employees are engaging with and using every day really helps them to think about security in a way that probably doesn't happen if you're considering your entire overall security stack. That's pretty much on the back end, and that's being managed by IT. But a password manager is something that we all use and need to use every single day.
Yeah.
We also conduct regular training. So I mentioned running regular security health checks. That's actually part of our security training. And so we have those that happen a couple times a year. And lastly, just reward and encourage. So we have a culture where we're very open, we're very transparent, and if somebody needs to report an incident, it's not embarrassing. It's always best to be safe and to report things that happen. If you if you accidentally clicked on a phishing attack or something, there's nothing to be embarrassed about. It's always best to report it.
Yeah, it's a really good point, that, because reporting it early, one, helps solve the issue quickly, and
Right.
two, if you don't report that issue straight away, then I suppose your managers or the hierarchy might not appreciate it if you didn't report it sooner, because otherwise that issue could get more out of control, you see. So it's a really good point about reporting incidents pretty much straight away.
Exactly. So, so finally, as agents, you're probably working with clients during an important milestone in their lives, which is the purchase of a home. And with that, you're handling a lot of very sensitive personal information that's related to your clients. So here, I do want to talk about, how can you really think about and be sensitive to how you're sharing and sending all of that very personal, very private, critical client information. So we found that over 40% of IT decision makers say they share passwords via email. But it's not just passwords that need to be shared with people, especially your clients. So we encourage people to always use encrypted sharing for sensitive information. That includes different documents, contracts, yes, login credentials such as passwords and usernames. And we encourage you to use encrypted sharing over the internet across external networks or remote servers. And the reason for this is because the encryption protects the files during transmission, from man-in-the-middle attacks. And this is really where somebody can bypass the sending of a contract or some kind of important information, and basically a data breach occurs, right? So encourage you to use encryption also to avoid sensitive data from being accessible to third-party systems. Encryption also enables secure digital collaboration without friction. I'm going to walk you through a little bit of how Bitwarden can enable all of that. So with Bitwarden, all you need is one main password, and Bitwarden does the rest. You essentially no longer have to juggle passwords. Again, all you have to do is remember one master password, and the rest is up to Bitwarden. So Bitwarden is wherever you are. So we believe that being available for you across all devices and platforms is essential. Password management is really only as useful as its availability. And so here are some of the ways you can use Bitwarden. We offer it through the mobile app, through your browser or desktop, and we also have a web vault. And so lastly, for some of our more advanced users, we have the command line interface as well.
From personal experience, it's good being able to access it at anywhere as well, because there's been cases where over the weekend where I might need to access something urgently, but I'm not at my computer or the desktop, and I can just access it through my Bitwarden mobile app. So that's a crucial feature for me, definitely.
Yeah. And one of the great things that Bitwarden offers, unlike some other password managers, is we offer unlimited passwords across unlimited devices. So really, we try to be there for you wherever you are and however many passwords you need to store. So it's all unlimited. To download Bitwarden, it's pretty easy. You go to bitwarden.com/downloads, and you can pick the appropriate client you would like to use from the desktop, web browser, mobile, or web vault. And then all the popular mobile operating systems as well. We support that, Android and the iOS. And you can, as I mentioned, you can access Bitwarden through all the popular desktop applications as well, Windows, Mac, Linux. So going back a little bit to what I was talking about before about sharing sensitive information. So Bitwarden has a really cool feature called Bitwarden Send, which allows you to securely transmit information through end-to-end encryption. So the only person who can view the text or file is the recipient that you are intending to send it to. With Bitwarden Send, you share either a typed message or an attached file, and you can even set an auto destruct or an expiration date so that you can be certain the sent file, the file, will only be available for a set period. You can also password protect whatever you're trying to transmit to add even more security. Bitwarden Send is available on web-based desktop and mobile clients, so you can securely share from any device. Bitwarden Send, what best part is it's available on both free and paid accounts. So the free accounts provides text sends, and paid plans include file attachments.
Yeah, we use Bitwarden Send quite a lot, and again, this is quite a crucial part of our ISO 27001 security. So, like, we send a lot of data. Say, if like working in marketing, I've got to make sure all our emails and names are accurate and up to date, and that might be shared through Bitwarden Send securely. The same with credit card details or company detail, like the company card, for example, we might share it through there. So Bitwarden Send, we know it's a secure platform to send sensitive information as well, not just store your passwords. So yeah.
Great to hear. So finally, I'm including some resource links here for all of you to take a look at when you're free. So the first bullet point actually is our own employee security training presentation. So if you want to use that link to take a look at what is presented to our own employees, that webcast will take you there. We have weekly live demos every week, every Wednesday. So that link there can help you register for a weekly live demo. It's a great time to talk to internal Bitwarden experts, ask questions. So it's very interactive, very personal and one-on-one. So I encourage you to check that out. I included a blog about using Bitwarden Send if you're interested in getting a little bit more details. And then finally, a link to just if you're interested in understanding some of our business plans and individual plans, that link provides more information.
Perfect.
And so, yeah, so that's the end of our presentation.
Yeah.
I want to thank Inventory Hive for just giving me a chance to speak to all of you today and share a little bit more about password security and Bitwarden. Stay
Yeah.
secure.
Brilliant. Yeah. No, I appreciate it, Vivian. I hope everyone who's watched today's found it really useful. If anyone's got any questions, then in the side of the webinar there is a Q&A box. So just pop your questions in there, and we'll envisage to respond back to those in 5 to 7 days' time after this webinar. So please do put your questions in there. If you want to learn more about Bitwarden, then just do get in touch with Vivian, or just search for Bitwarden. It's a really good platform, and it's crucial to helping ensure your estate agent or real estate agency is secure and there's no any data or security breaches. And if you want to learn more about Inventory Hive, then head over to inventoryhive.co.uk, and we're offering a completely free 30-day trial as well for anyone who wants to give Inventory Hive a try as well. So again, thank you very much, Vivian, for your time today. I really appreciate it. I hope everyone's enjoyed it, and if anyone's got any questions, get in touch. Vivian, thank you very much, and we'll
Thanks.
catch you all soon.
Bye.
Cheers, guys.